Hello everyone, hope you're having the greatest of days today. Welcome to the Film Insight channel. For today's video, we're going to discuss some more bars featured on Bar Rescue and reveal how they're doing now. So, sit back, relax, and without further ado, let's get right into the content, guys. Fish Heads. For a season 6 episode, Jon Taffer heads over to Fish Heads Bar and Grill in Lake City, Florida to bring it back on its feet. Owned by Philip and Tony Crenshaw, they purchased the bar back in 1999 when there weren't any bars in the area. At the time, the place was always busy, which made the owners a whopping $2 million a year. Though, as the years passed, they became increasingly overwhelmed with the workload, which is why they decided to hire their son James as a general manager. Unfortunately, due to his clear inexperience in the industry, the bar has only suffered, and it's one of the reasons why they're losing close to $5,000 a month. On the verge of closing down for good, the owners call out to Taffer and his team for some guidance. Upon his eventual arrival with his experts, they point out that the bar's interior looks dated and that they're in a difficult to market location. Sending in some recon to really get an idea of the customer experience, they aren't impressed to see that there's no specialty menu to pick from, so they order a simple old-fashioned. As the bartenders pour their drinks, they make note of the fact that they pour with a handle bottle, which hinders them from making accurate pours. Ordering some food, which wasn't great either, the spies also get very uncomfortable hearing James arguing with a server and his mother. Having seen more than enough, Taffer heads inside and confronts James about his lack of professionalism and tells him that no one respects him. Since his parents are too afraid to do it themselves, the bar rescue host strips him of his manager title and gives him barback duty for the stress test. Before that, Taffer holds a staff meeting the following day to figure out what they think the biggest issue is. Almost immediately, James puts the blame on everyone but himself, but the staff are quick to throw it right back in his face and highlight that he's the problem. Hoping to get everyone on the same page, Taffer forces the owners and their son to apologize to the staff if they want him to rescue the bar. Soon after, the famous rescuer brings in his experts who help the staff refine their skill for their upcoming stress test. Hoping to see what they've learned, it's safe to say that the service was chaotic and slow, but James finally stepped up for once, which is definitely great. James was promoted back to a manager for his efforts, and the staff was trained on how to make special cocktails and cook fish tacos in preparation for the relaunch. Renaming the place to Fish Tales, Taffer also gave the interior a vibrant makeover, provided them with tons of new equipment, and revamped the menu to include burgers and wings. Finally relaunching, the staff and customers alike seemed to love the changes made, and the bar was given the second chance that it needed. Weeks after the taping of this episode, the owners revealed that their sales went up by 33%, which is fantastic. Additionally, both Phil and Tony seem hopeful for the bar's future and are steadily saving up for their eventual retirement. To this very day, the bar is still up and running and has a pretty solid 4-star review on TripAdvisor, with many praising the food and staff. What a great rescue. No Name Saloon. Visiting the failing No Name Saloon in Edgewater, Florida, Jon Taffer tries to rescue it from closure. While the bar was once very popular, bringing in thousands of dollars per month, it ultimately closed down for 3 years until a man named Jim Kelly decided to purchase it for himself. Familiar with the bar's success, Jim hoped that he could build it back up so he could eventually pass it down to his daughter Susan. Even though the business was very profitable at first, they were heavily set back by Hurricane Matthew, which destroyed his home and forced his family to live at the bar. Considering that they were struggling to renovate their home and that the bar was always filled with aggressive patrons who scared the new ones away, the Kellys were $800,000 in debt. Unsure of how to move forward, the owners desperately called out to Taffer for his professional help. When he finally arrives with his experts, they express that the property is very large on both the interior and exterior, as well as liken the place to a rundown biker Coachella. Filling both of the experts in on the situation, they're shocked to hear that despite the fact that Susan is ready to take over the bar, her father doesn't want to hand it over. Taking a look inside, it's clear that the bar is way too embedded in its biker identity, which would definitely push non-bikers away. Sending in a magazine editor and his friend for recon, they ask for recommendations and are given a weird cocktail that is way too sweet. On top of this, they're told to order a Philly cheesesteak sandwich, which they order along with a normal chicken sandwich. In the kitchen, the bar chef Bob uses several dirty towels while cooking and doesn't even cook the meat properly, but sends it out anyway. Obviously their meals were awful, so they send it back, and Jim offers to give them a refund but doesn't even want to apologize for the mishap. To make matters even worse, Jim catches some people doing the deed in the bathroom, which proves how far gone the bar really is. Appalled with what he was seeing, Taffer and his experts rush inside, confront the staff about the business, and tell them to clean up the bar. Returning the following day, the bar rescue host holds a staff meeting hoping to learn more about the issues at hand. Surprisingly, the staff admit that they often drink on the job, since Jim often looks the other way, but this results in inconsistent service quality. Additionally, many of their current patrons are disrespectful of the space, which makes the place feel very trashy. Soon after, Taffer calls in his experts who teach the staff how to make better Philly cheesesteak sandwiches and how to mix balanced cocktails. Later on, the bar rescue host floods the business with customers, and the staff gets quickly overwhelmed due to the lack of teamwork, which forces Taffer to shut things down. Throughout the entire service, the only person who truly shined and worked her hardest was the owner's daughter, Susan. Getting Jim and his daughter to talk things over, they agreed to wait a year before he passes the business over to her. Through more training with the staff, beautiful renovations to the exterior and interior, as well as improvements to the menu and uniforms, No Name Saloon was given a second chance. Post-bar rescue, the business's sales went up by 30%, and while Susan took over the bookkeeping, she's on track to become the owner very soon. Most of the reviews are positive, with many complimenting the staff and the wonderful atmosphere. If you wanted to visit this place, it's still open to this very day. Barley Pop's Bar and Grill. As our final entry, we're going to discuss a bar that John Taffer attempted to rescue called Barley Pop's Bar and Grill. Owned by Chris Woodbury, he's been running the place for over 6 years with the help of his fiancée Amber. While the business used to be very popular in gaming and hospitality circles, things have only gone downhill since Woodbury started to drink on the job. Unable to manage the staff in his inebriated state, the bar is in complete disrepair and is the reason why he's $100,000 in debt. Needing some guidance and fast, the owner calls out to Taffer and his team in hopes that they could bring the bar back to its glory days. When he finally arrives with expert chef Ryan Scott and expert mixologist Sean Ford, they think that the bar looks very dated. Wanting to get a better idea of the customer experience, Taffer sends in 2 spies for recon who order some drinks and sliders. Despite the fact that the kitchen has been closed for a while, the head bartender/manager Paige still takes their order anyway and serves them drinks that taste awful. In the kitchen, Justin, who's another bartender, attempts to fulfill their order, but when he notices that they don't have the ingredients necessary, he just walks out of the bar for the night. Soon after, Paige informs the spies that they won't be able to make the sliders, but still takes their order for chicken fingers, which is so incredibly stupid. This forces Woodbury's wife Amber to make them herself, but she does practically everything wrong, which prompts Taffer and his team to shut things down. Meeting with both owners, the famous rescuer learns that they have a child together and that Woodbury often drops the ball since he knows his fiancée will cover for him. Returning the following day, Taffer holds a meeting with the staff and sees that the owners are noticeably absent. Calling Amber to figure out what's going on, she expresses that her partner has been sleeping since he's passed out from being drunk. Needing some persuasion to come back to the bar, Woodbury finally clocks in and is instantly confronted by Taffer, who tries to talk to him about his addiction. Mid-conversation, Amber has an extremely severe panic attack and is sent to the hospital by ambulance. To facilitate some change, Taffer gets the owner to talk to a counselor, which is fantastic, but the same couldn't be said about the staff, who would have to take on the stress test alone. Shockingly, the stress test wasn't a complete disaster, but a lot of the bar's inefficiencies were exposed, like how the workspace as well as the sinks were too small, making it hard to do anything. The next day, Amber returns from the hospital and everyone seems happy to hear that Woodbury is going to continue his treatment with the counselor. Following tons of training, renaming the place to the Valley Saloon, and making renovations to the interior and exterior, the bar was finally given a second chance. Weeks after the taping of this episode, the bar sales increase and they seem to be doing pretty well. Though with time, not only did Woodbury change the name back to Barley Pops, but he split with Amber and married someone else. Still open to this day, the bar receives pretty decent reviews on Yelp, with many praising the food but others complaining about the atmosphere. Well, that'll be all for today's video here on the channel. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to drop a massive like down below and comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more content like this and turn on those sweet bell notifications for instant access to our content. Have a good one, guys.